The tourist industry here is a bit more open, a bit more liberalized now, but definitely Bhutan is trying to promote itself to the world and to get on top of people's kind of wish lists for travel, like the clean air, the beautiful views, the spectacular scenery. So the people do come for a lot of different reasons, and they tend to, I would say, touch on many different aspects when they're here. Yeah, I mean, definitely post-pandemic, we wanted to promote Bhutan to the world, and to tell everyone that, Bhutan is here, we're open, we would love to have visitors. There were some changes to the tourism strategy in September 2022. So after Bhutan reopened after the pandemic, the changes were there was a revision in the price of the sustainable development fee, which is the daily fee that people pay. So it's gone up. It went up from $65 to $100 US per person per day. For Indian nationals, it's 1,200 rupees per person per day. You used to have to book through a Bhutanese tour operator when you visited Bhutan. Now you don't have to. You can book directly yourself. You can book through a Bhutanese hotel. You can book through a Bhutanese tour operator. You can book however you like. So there is a change in how you book your holiday. So the tourist industry here is a bit more open, a bit more liberalized now, but definitely Bhutan is trying to promote itself to the world and to get on top of people's kind of wish lists for travel. I mean, compared to the rest of the world, the SDF of US dollars 100 per person per night for the rest of the world, and is high. I mean, a lot of countries these days are introducing something like a daily fee, a daily tax, or environmental levy, or a tourist tax. It's not unique to Bhutan. A lot of places are doing it, but the fee is much lower. But I do think in the future that more and more countries and cities will start introducing these fees to prevent the kind of scourge of over-tourism. For Indians, as I said, it's 1,200 rupees per person per day. And what we saw was that when Bhutan reopened after the pandemic, the revised SDF did have an impact on numbers immediately and drastically. But these are now definitely coming back. We are in terms of foreign international guests, we're almost at pre-pandemic arrivals already. With Indian national guests, the numbers are still lower, probably by about 50%, but we see every month that they're climbing steadily. So I think the challenge or the trick is to really communicate to people where that money is going and what it's used for. And once people understand that the money is being spent on free healthcare for Bhutanese, free education, upgrading the roads, upgrading the infrastructure, upskilling people, and it's like a pay it forward concept. You're making sure that the next people that come to Bhutan, they have an even better experience and an even better experience. Once people understand that, then their acceptance really goes up. It is about protecting the industry and making sure that the quality of the experience and the quality of people's livelihoods here is high quality. So I think people generally are okay with paying that, but once they understand where that money is going, it makes a big difference. And that's really what we try and focus on, like whether it's travel agents, like international travel partners or international guests, we really try and say, okay, yeah, it's a lot of money, we understand, but your money is going to fund these very important projects. Like what other country funds free healthcare from tourism? So it's quite an innovative model. So pre-pandemic, 2019 was the busiest year for tourism in Bhutan, and there were around 350,000 arrivals. Out of the 350,000 arrivals, around 280,000 were from Indian nationals. And back pre-pandemic, there was no daily fee, no sustainable development fee charged for the Indian nationals. After the pandemic, in September 2022, the tourism policy changed, and there was an SDF levied on Indian nationals of 1,200 rupees per person per day. And this has impacted on the numbers, but as I mentioned, every month the numbers are steadily increasing. So last year, in 2023, we received just more than 100,000 arrivals, so 103,000 arrivals, out of which around 60% were from Indian nationals. This year we're looking at receiving around 200,000 or slightly more, and next year we'll hit pre-pandemic levels of around 300 to 350,000 arrivals. So it's a gradual and steady increase. But we're next year, as I said, on track to hit those pre-arrival numbers, but with a higher daily fee. And also we've noticed that the type of guests that are coming to Bhutan now have changed from pre-pandemic. We see that they're spending more, they're staying longer, and Bhutan is definitely benefiting more economically from the guests that we're receiving now. Actually, outside of India, our number one source market is the US, which is really surprising because the Americans have to travel so far to come here, but they do. So we get a lot of American visitors. After the US, we get a lot of people from the UK, from Western Europe, especially Germany, Switzerland, France, Italy. We have Asian guests, so China is very strong, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Thailand. And then we also have Australians coming. So that would be our kind of top 10 or 11 source market. I think yes and no. I mean, Bhutan is a small country with a population of around 750,000 people, and it's the same size as Switzerland, but it's got 1/8 of the population. So it is a small country. So having said that, Bhutan's always been very careful about its tourism strategy, and that's why from the very, very beginning, since it first started welcoming tourists only in 1974. So this year it's actually 50 years of tourism. It's our Golden Jubilee celebrations. From the very beginning, Bhutan has had a policy which is high value, low volume. So it's always been super careful. It doesn't want to be a mass tourism destination, and it can't be. The infrastructure is not, it doesn't want to be. So it's had this very unique kind of tourism strategy in place since the very beginning. So on one hand, Bhutan can have more capacity. The Prime Minister called it welcoming, not carrying capacity, welcoming capacity. We can have more tourists. 350,000 in a year is not a lot, right? But if you balance out as you mentioned, the environmental kind of impact, the cultural impact on a small country with a very unique culture, Bhutan has to be careful. So that's why, partly the sustainable development fee is in place, because it just means that this is a way of managing the tourist arrivals in a careful and kind of controlled manner. So yes, we want to have more than 350,000 people, but we want to make sure that the people who come firstly really want to be here, are the kind of, share the values with Bhutan. Seasonality, we would love to spread the seasonality through the year. I mean, it's summer now, it's beautiful weather, the sun's shining, a bit of rainfall just now, but summer in Bhutan is gorgeous. It's, super green, the waterfalls, the rivers are full, just like winter. People think that Bhutan is covered in snow in winter. It's not. There's snow in the highlands, but Timpu Parapanaka, the sun is out, it's bright days, it's cool, it's wonderful for trekking. So if we get the right amount of people and spread them properly through the year and different parts of the country, Bhutan can certainly do a lot more tourism. And it is important because at the moment, tourism is a small contributor to the economy. I mean, it's less than 5%, but the Prime Minister definitely wants to increase that number a lot and quickly. So we have to benefit more economically from tourism. There's also tourism is the number one source of jobs, employment in the country. So a lot of people rely on this industry for their livelihoods. So we have to find like a smart way of welcoming more people, but without impacting the environment, without losing the culture and the uniqueness that Bhutan is known for. And again, we're lucky that we have the SDF because funds from this go back into cleanup campaigns and making sure that the environment is protected, conserved, preserved for the guests and for the Bhutanese. You're absolutely right. There's a real diversity in terms of why people come here, and that's quite different because I was in one of our neighboring countries. I just got back yesterday, and 90% of the people that visit are there for trekking. Whereas in Bhutan, there's so many different reasons that people come and do come. So you've got your spiritual tourism, of course, which is a lot to do here from a spiritual or religious point of view. You have your adventure tourism, trekking, hiking, whitewater rafting, horse riding, motorbiking. You have cultural tourism and kind of like the history of the Himalayas, and culturally, like Bhutan is incredibly rich and diverse when it comes to culture. The mask dances, all the festivals, 156 festivals, the food that is just so good. And it's kind of like this hidden gem of, the Himalayas, this Bhutanese food. But on top of that, there's wonderful textiles, there's shopping. People do come here for, and obviously just to be in nature, like the clean air, the beautiful views, the spectacular scenery. So the people do come for a lot of different reasons, and they tend to, I would say, touch on many different aspects when they're here. Yeah, so great question. And it's something that we have just seen so much interest in the past kind of 6-12 months, is this homestay, which is wonderful. So Bhutan offers a really diverse range of accommodation. We have 11 five-star brands in Bhutan. And for a small country, that's quite a lot of like really high-end product. And by brands, I'm talking, we have the 5 Amans, the 5 Six Senses, we have 2 Komos, we have 2 Meridians, really great internationally known brands, but 11 of them. We also have about 11 four-star brands, and all the four-star brands are very Bhutanese, organic, kind of homemade, but Bhutanese run, Bhutanese operated, excellent standards, and a very good value for money. There's more than 100 3-star brands, and in the 3-star category, you get, again, like excellent value for money. You can get a very nice 3-star product for less than $100 on average all around the country. But going to homestays, so the Bhutanese homestays are incredibly authentic. They generally are very, run by local families. They're in a great location. You get a very nice experience because the Bhutanese family will welcome you into their home. They will talk to you. They'll tell you about their stories, their lives, their livelihoods. They may offer you to take you for a walk around their property. They might even offer to teach you how to cook, like a local dish like imadatsi or kiwadatsi or something. And it's, the homes are clean, they're warm, they're comfortable. You don't get the amenities of the hotels, like all the different types of, skincare and everything and hair wash, but you get this experience that you don't get at a hotel. And it's the one that you take home and you remember for a long time, because you get a sense of authentic Bhutanese hospitality. And I really think that Bhutanese hospitality should be exported globally because it's really authentic. It's very, very warm, welcoming, sincere. It's wonderful. So there are a lot. We have more than 100 Bhutanese homestays that are certified with Department of Tourism. And I really recommend it. And very good value for money. They do range in prices. Some of them, $30, $40 a night for the room. They go up to more depending on the quality. Some of them are very old kind of manor houses that have been, renovated. And they could be like 100, 200-year-old manor houses that are more, but they're fantastic. And, I talk to a lot of the guests that come to Bhutan, and I ask them, how was your experience? What did we do well? Where can we improve? What was your most memorable stay? And many people say to me their most memorable stay was a homestay because it's so rare, so unique, and then you'll make friends most likely with the families that run the homestay, and you'll stay in contact with them. So, and the language isn't really a problem because even if the homestay owners don't speak great English, the guide is there and the guide can help you translate for everything. But it's a wonderful experience in Bhutan. And the money that you pay to the homestay owners, it's staying in the community, it's staying with the owners. So I definitely wouldn't miss that.